So Thijs, what have you kind of seen as the themes in this day, or what are you taking away from this event?
Now, first of all, it's very pleasing to see this third Utility of the Future Forum, and I find it extremely exciting to have the leadership of the US energy sector here present, discussing on challenges they are facing, the priorities they have to set, but also the expectations from their stakeholders, and that includes, of course, in the first place, their customers, but also government. And it's very good to see a very lively debate up to now, this first day, an interest. We clearly see that the electricity sector in the US goes through an energy transition. Many people, many companies have questions, and yeah, I'm as a member of the executive board of KEMA, I'm extremely proud that we host this session and that we can facilitate this discussion with leaders in the energy sector.
Good. Yeah. Should I ask you another question?
Yeah, sure. Because.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, how about looking at the first panel maybe this morning of the view from the top, the CEOs that spoke. Any interesting takeaways from that, or things that struck you?
Yeah, I think what struck me is that we had three CEOs, and they had an interesting position on their challenges and the priorities they have to set. There was some difference in views, but I think that was good. That was good for the debate which followed, the questions which were asked by the audience. And again, I'm very pleased that we can facilitate a session like this. I was struck by the openness of the CEOs. And what I take away, in a way, is that the issues the people face in this country are not that different from issues the energy companies face in Europe and elsewhere. What is maybe different is some of the business drivers. And that has to do with the development of the markets, etc. But to have this discussion, yeah, of course, is great.
Interesting. Hugo said something very similar to that about the European U.S. similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you're looking forward to hearing about in the upcoming sessions, or that questions that you haven't heard answered yet that you're?
I believe in a number of the panels, people focus on what is now this value proposition. And it all relates to the future. What is the vision companies have for the future? And that is well beyond 2020, that is 2040, 2050. What I'm looking forward the rest of this afternoon and tomorrow is particularly hear more about it. I have a small session myself this evening where I will share, I will reflect on developments in Europe and share that with the audience here. And I hope after that I will get some good discussion and some good input, what they felt and what the differences are. Because there are certain differences that has to do with the drivers, the business drivers. But nevertheless, I feel that it's good to openly share issues with one another and learn from one another.
And because your speech won't be filmed tonight, do you want to give us a quick summary or some highlights about what you'll speak about?
Yeah, I focus, of course, on the energy transition and what is happening at this moment in Europe and what is on the agenda of the utilities. I will touch upon a work we have done together with McKinsey and others for the European Climate Foundation. And that is the Roadmap 2050, which is the decarbonization, or to a large extent, decarbonization of the power sector, and what that means, and what some of the boundary conditions are to make it happen. I will then switch to the distribution grids, and that they are important for the distributed generation, mainly in the sustainable areas. I will share with how I see the future in 2050. What I would do in the Netherlands with respect to generating electricity, in fact, selling it back into the grid. So in that sense, yeah, I will share some of my visions how I see the future in 2050, and I'm very interested in the audience. How would they respond to that?
All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right.
Thank
So you
sir.
make some cuttings and then you put something. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So what are some of the things that you've kind of seen, the themes you've seen running through, or the takeaways you have from
Yeah.
that so far?
Now, first of all, Elizabeth, I think it's good to stress that I'm extremely pleased that we run this third Utility Future Forum. The topic is strategic choices, striking equilibrium, and what is keeping the audience occupied, and that is the focus of these 2 days. That is the challenges the companies are facing here in the US, the priorities they are setting, but above all, expectations. Expectations set by customers, by government, by regulators. And it's very pleasing to see that and I'm very proud of that we're able to facilitate such a conference. As a member of the executive board, we have clearly said in our strategy that we want to be a global thought leader. And to run conferences like this, to facilitate meetings where you could say the top of the energy sector of the US is present, you could say that from an executive board point of view, I'm extremely pleased with the result, and also how the participants, how the audience is responding to the topics which are addressed today.
Great. I think that was better than the first time anyway. You had some better points. Yeah. Good. Did you want to redo any of the other parts, or I think that was good?
On what I expect, maybe more in the remaining part, maybe,
Okay.
and you can maybe cut and cut and paste it. Yeah.
Sure. Are you ready? Okay. So for the remainder of the conference, what kind of challenges do you hope to hear addressed?
I think the presenters and the members of the panel, they talk about their drivers and their value propositions. And I think what is extremely important is also that the sustainability topic will be clearly addressed. Because yes, cost of capital is important. Of course, dividends, profits of running an energy company is important. But particularly with the reduction of emissions, which the whole world is facing, I think the whole sustainability drive is an extremely important aspect. And I'm looking forward that we will have more discussions in that arena, and I'm very interested to see how the audience is responding. In that context, I will share some ideas and reflections I have myself, based on developments outside the US, so in particular Europe and the rest of the world. The work on the European Climate Foundation we have done with others, which very much looks at pathways, how to decarbonize the power sector in Europe to a large extent by 2050. And I'm very interested in the responses I will get from the audience here, because I believe that sustainability is, besides, of course, profits and good economics, but sustainability is a very important driver as well, and that I hope that will be addressed. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You have enough?